I'm sure almost every single one of us has experienced some sort of life-changing event that brought us down to a very low point in our life. Those times where you don't talk to anyone, felt like no one was there, and felt numb and unmotivated to really do anything, until the idea of self-improvement comes along. This kind of awakening makes you realize that you've become tired of being tired and finally get up to start to make a positive change in your life. When I think about self-improvement, I remember I first started my journey when I had my heartbreak out of high school. Looking back on it, I'm glad to have went through it because it made me who I am now, but damn, that shit hurt. And at the time, I used the pent-up energy to excel in working a job and school as a way to distract myself from the underlying fact that I was pretty depressed. But I layered my feelings with things to do so I didn't feel that way. I started consuming content of motivation and discipline to lock in as a way of validation to tell myself I was doing the right thing. And why wouldn't I be? Working on yourself and improving your life is respectable. And I had results. My minimum wage checks were cashing out since I didn't have bills to pay, and my GPA was at a 4.0. On the surface, I was doing good. But this idea of improvement started to become an obsession. I got hooked into the hustle culture that if you weren't working, you're wasting your time. So I would choose not to hang out with friends to work a shift. I stroked my own ego when I filled my entire schedule with work and convinced myself that I was harder working than others. And when I would finally reach a milestone in my life, there was always another bigger goal to achieve. Slowly but surely, I found myself chasing an impossible perfection, wondering why there were still problems in my life, even when I progressed this much. I was too much in my own headspace to figure that I kept using self-improvement as the answer to everything, but it was actually just a productive way of escaping your other problems. And I failed to consider that I was putting so much focus on one side of my life that I was lacking in the other departments, like my emotional maturity at the time, or the relationships I had with others. So a question that we should all ask ourselves is the way we're living now leading us to the version of ourselves that we truly want to become? Because when I was going through this route of only working in school, I realized that I was heading towards a narrow path of defining success to come from these superficial things like money or a high GPA. But when imagining myself to become the person I wanted to be, none of that mattered. I wanted close friends. I wanted to have memorable experiences. I wanted to live, but I was living to work when I should have been working to live. So if there's one thing I want you to take away from this video is that self-improvement isn't just locking yourself in a room until you make $10,000 a month, or cutting off everybody and coming back unrecognizable. A form of self-improvement can be spending time with your friends and family. It doesn't make sense because self-improvement is like a solo thing, but when you really think about it, the quality time you spend establishing a bond with others improves your self and well-being because of the relationship you have connected with those close to you. Can you imagine how different you would be without those close friends around you? And self-improvement doesn't always have to be about work. It's also going out and experiencing new things, making mistakes, getting outside your comfort zone. Because this point in time right now is the youngest you'll ever be. And this obsession with being better robs you from the joy of being. So instead of being hyper fixated on the idea of working yourself, just live your life to the fullest, and you'll come to find that true self-improvement happens along the way.